Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Are you the Keymaster?
You can't tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk.
Can't see that
As if.
Yo, how's it going, guys? My name is Christie Shinn, and I'm going to put in these little fucking overlays right here. As you know, where did my, oh, there's my overlay right there. So what it is that right now I'm just drawing a bunch of crap. Right now I'm working on some cards for the game coming out for Demon Bitch. It's called Dumpster Fire, I think. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to start drawing and things. So I hope all is well with you guys, and I'm going to go and have a good time. Come on, jump on in if you want. If you want to go invite anybody else, I might invite some other people too. Oh, God damn it, you stupid thing. Hold on. I'm going to call my homie and say, where you at? Anyway, so welcome to lunch hour. So that's where I'm going with that. And let's see here. Ooh. But yeah, no, we're really happy to have everybody. Stephen Prince also has a new Kickstarter out now, so I'm gonna go throw that in. He was all sad, so you got to go give him some stuff because he's a lovely man. So let's go ahead. He was kind of morose and crying too. I know that sounds terrible that I was saying morose and crying. So there we go. Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, Monster Matador, thank you very much. So let me go ahead. I'm going to invite some people. We might regret this, but you know, I always do things that I'm sort of regretting half the time. So let's see. Anyway, there we go in there. And then, yeah, maybe we can have DL on there. Maybe not. Who knows? You mentioned I'll drop the link. Oh, awesome. Thanks. I'm trying to go and see how much I have to port. I'm actually still getting used to the old format that I used to have. And that's pretty crazy. So let me go ahead and start drawing Demon Bitch. I invited Philip to come back on his show since I jumped on his other show. And it's a great show for everybody to be had. Now I'm drawing Demon Bitch bald because she overdyed her hair, and she's so upset about that she's basically saying that she has cancer now, so no one will make fun of her. And that's really fucked up, but I've seen people do worse. It's really crazy. Ooh, burp. Anyway, so how's it going with everybody? I don't know. I don't know if I should do a gray skull cap on her. Maybe I'll just do this on her because she shaved it right here, and she's getting the stubble back in and everything. So yeah, living the dream, Christy, right? I totally am. I totally am. Well, what did you do? Hold on. Sorry, this thing is pissing me off. Oh. Whee. Is it just me, but I just like making fun of the stupid? I think that's why people like Demon Bitch. But there we go, right there. Whew. Thank you for liking it, guys. I appreciate it. Oh, let me see who else is here. Yeah, I look at my phone constantly because sometimes people are hitting me up about artwork and things about some stuff. But, you know, I mean, lunch hour is not exclusively me. I just put down lunch hour right here. And then you guys get to be the entertainment as I interact with you. How about that? I love drawing her fucking bags because, you know, taking uppers all day does not do well, does not do a body good. Remember Slim Goodbody? That guy must be fucking 70 now. And Demon Bitch is upset about something, but she always is. Demon Bitch. Hey, Quentin, what's up, dude? How's it going by you, man? Man. My ass. Sorry, I have to say that. Hail the Q Continuum, right? Do. Yeah, so people have asked me when I do draw streams like this, how do I keep the energy up? And talking to yourself, isn't that a challenge? And I say no, because if you are an artist, you're kind of nuts anyway, so you end up talking to yourself anyway. Let's see. Oh, Philip's finally on here. Let's see. Hey guy, what's up?
Not much.
Yeah, let me turn up the fucking volume here. All right. Ooh. God, I feel like Chairman Momo right now. If nobody knows what that is, he's that orange grumpy cat in this Korean cat channel I look at. Oh, DL's here too. All right. Ooh, I gotta add him. What's up, guys?
What's up? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm just
Cool.
like, you get to see me work and talk shit, so great. Let's all talk shit.
Well, I'm driving, so I ain't gonna be watching much. I'll crash my freaking car.
Oh, that's okay. I've seen people crash their careers harder. It's great. I know. I indulge in petty forms of amusement. That's all I got to say.
That's all right. Looks like you're using Clip Studio.
Yes, I'm using Clip Studio. I actually like it better than Photoshop. The only thing that kind of sucks. Yeah, because it's just like, all right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go put my fucking pen on here, and then it's like, oh, I'm thinking now. I'm like, you fucking little asshole.
Just
so that got me mad.
In a perfect world, I would like Clip Studio's functionality with Sketchbook Pro's interface and Photoshop's just acceptability. That'd be great.
Well, I mean, the thing about Photoshop, it's easier in a weird way to resize things, and it's easier to kind of like boost some of the pixelation and not up, you know, with a pre-existing thing and cropping, right? Whereas Photoshop is kind of okay with it. I don't know why, but whatever. But with Photoshop, it's good for formatting in terms of like cutting it or expanding it. But what's kind of annoying is that the stupid piece of shit.
Well, I think
I was just being quiet because I was just laughing because I was just, sometimes I watch cop body cam videos and I start laughing at all the shit that happens. I'm a horrible person.
Oh, you should watch some of mine. You should see some of my old body cam video. That you want some freaking comedy.
Oh yeah, that cops go through is kind of funny, but I do like the body cam shit so nobody can whine about it. It's like, yeah, that cop fucked up. Oh yeah, that motherfucker fucked up. You know.
Well, here's the thing about body cameras. They show anytime you see something on video, it's up to interpretation. It sounds strange, but it's up to interpretation. And the video never shows. People are so used to having a cameraman film it, they're not used to having it filmed on a person. So most of my body cam footage is of the sky, of the ground, of my hand, of anything but what I'm doing. So that's the bad part about that. And then on top of it, it's just like if you see an act of violence or see officer shooting somebody, only thing you're going to see is the back parts of their hands because their hands cover up what they're pointing their gun at. So I like audio way more than I like video, but that's just me. I guess another topic for another day.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that like some of the things that I've watched is like donut operator, and one of my favorite terms, and I don't know why. I mean, people think I'm into like police brutality or some bullshit. But there's like one where I guess there was this guy being a stupid ass, and they drive stunned him in the dick, and I'm like, oh, a couple people I would like to see that happen because they'd be dumb enough to argue with cops while stupidly inebriated. It would be beautiful.
The bad part about it, that's you can't do that. Yeah, there's different. You cannot drive somebody in the groin. So that officer actually committed a crime under color of law, which actually the violation I think was in 1982, USC 1982. So that's a felony. You can't do that.
Yeah, I think it was that he was struggling. That's why. So
I did in Afghanistan. It wasn't legal then.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think they were trying to stun him like in the stomach or where was acceptable.
Okay.
He kept kicking around.
That's different.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he, drive stun him in the dick, but if it happened, I wouldn't be.
I mean, yeah, if you're aiming, if you could articulate, yeah, I was aiming for his the belt line, and he moved, and it, you know, hit him in the groin, and fine. I mean, I know I one time I had a guy, he was threatening to, he had a knife to his own throat, which I thought was funny anyway, and so I had the taser, I think, and the sergeant, no, my buddy had the beanbag round, and the sergeant said let him have it. So we tased him and beanbagged him at the same time, which kind of is excessive, but we didn't know what let him have it meant at the time. And then I remember running up and grabbing him, cuffing him, and the taser prong was still on his hip. And we tried to pull it out, couldn't get it out. It was stuck in the bone. So we had to take him to the hospital. And the doc asked me, ER doc said, hey, do you have a Leatherman? I said, yeah. Handed him a Leatherman. He took my Leatherman, dirty as heck, looked at it, pulled the dang taser prong out. I said, yeah, take him to the jail. I'm like, dude. So I got stories for days, man. I've been doing this way too damn long.
Hey Jay, what's up? We talk about raw subjects here, but I mean,
yeah.
how does anybody not know that I do that shit? Like, we'll just talk about the worst things ever. Like, I'll talk about like people faking cancer to get sympathy. It's really kind of funny.
Gosh.
That's fucked up, Christy. It's like, yeah, people do that. I draw about it all the time.
Well, let me ask you about this, about your process using your apps. Do you do everything in Clip, or do you go from like maybe Clip to Adobe Illustrator to something else? I mean, what's your process?
Nah, I just do Clip. I'm too lazy.
Clip? Okay. You like lettering in Clip?
I like lettering in Clip too. It's kind of funny because like my handwriting is the worst fucking handwriting in the world right now because I barely like write physically.
Uh-huh.
I just type. So I letter everything. But the thing is that my attitude with lettering, I was talking to Philip about this because we talk about shop and work on that. Like he actually thought I hand letter. I said, oh, no, not at all.
That's true. Because the way she chooses to letter her stuff, it really matches the artwork that she's putting in her book.
Yeah.
Not many people do that anymore, where like you have to let the lettering match. Like it should fit seamlessly that your book is together as one image. So I thought she was doing the old school hand lettering thing because when I started learning to letter, I started learning to letter off of those old school Thomas guys, but the Leroy guides. In fact, I still have mine. Let me go grab it so people understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because I'm like going, oh, you think I do that? That's great. I was kind of laughing because it was like, I'm just like going, yeah, I kind of don't do that. But I mean, it's not like I try to, like, what the thing is that it's kind of like Alex Ross when he puts together his paintings, right? And I'm not saying I'm Alex Ross by any means because that motherfucker, I don't know how that guy like paints whole moving paintings and can do it right. You know, it's just, to me, it would be so static, but how he does it, it's actually dynamic. So if you read Kingdom Come, you're like, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm watching a movie, like an actual movie. And with Alex Ross, but the thing is that his shit, what is that? Oh, wow.
This is a lettering guide. No, seriously, when I was learning to do comics, I would use this to letter. So the pencil would go here, and this little pointy end, you would stick on a guide like this, like the ruler, and then you would use this, something like a sketch, and you would make sure the sketch, the little notch would go in there. So you would trace it and it'd keep your letters straight. So when I originally saw your stuff, I thought you were like an old school letterer because the way you do your stuff, I was like, man, that looks like some old school stuff you were using.
I mean, I'm not trying to say I know everything, but it's like for me, I'm a visual person, so I've got to read. When I read stuff, and especially comics, I pay attention to how it looks. Now, I don't have it all down to a science, but if it doesn't look right to me, then I don't want to go through it. Like sometimes, like there's too much text in one thing. Let me pop up this Demon Bitch one. I'm just doing Demon Bitch cancer and everything. And I almost was a cancer survivor, so fuck y'all if you're going to be mad at me for making fun of cancer. Hold on.
I remember.
Yeah, I think it's just funny because like people are like, you can't make fun of people with cancer. I said, no, I don't. I make fun of people with fake cancer. I've seen that happen too. It's really kind of disgusting when the internet does that. So like for this one, this could have been problematic for me in terms of lettering because, I have the Demon Bitch covered here and it says like what happened here and then this, but I want to go and have like the flow of conversation. And sometimes in graphics or in drawings or illustration, there is a challenge to that because you have to look at the flow of convo. Like it could go from left to right and right to left and pretty comfortably, but you kind of have to put one above the other in precedence. But sometimes that doesn't always work because, you know, this thing, what happened here, that's going to be a lot less text than this. Luckily for the my ass, that's actually kind of in the background where everybody can kind of ignore it. So there you
Right.
go. So it's just like visually how I do it. So if it looks right to me, then I'll do it. No, I'm not saying I know everything. I probably make some mistakes in lettering here and there because they talk about it's, how you have to write it's and place that and everything. But so far I haven't heard any complaints. And since it is Demon Bitch, it's supposed to be kind of shitty anyway. So
Well, one thing about lettering I noticed in comics in recent years, we went from having our own style of talking in comics. You know, like we used to write in the word bubble, like how people actually talk, versus now everyone wants perfect grammar where we don't use growlics anymore. We don't use, you know, all those old school techniques to show hyphens and the words purposely misspelled because it's being spelled the way it sounds versus. And I find that kind of interesting, though, with this new generation of comics. Everyone wants the grammar to be more, you know, like perfect, which
Yeah.
I kind of, I don't know. I miss the old way of lettering. I really do. Because it made the lettering a lot more of a character, in my opinion. Just being honest.
Yeah. That's why I don't shit on people that letter at all. You know, I mean, the thing is that what people fucking don't understand is that everything in comics has to look like it fits together. Then they go and do the fucking Comic Sans shit, and I'm like, please don't. Just, I wish that was like killed out of existence. What I hate even more is that at kids' events, they'll use it, say, oh, this is for art. I'm like, please don't. That's like the worst fucking font you could ever use. Please use Arial or some other shit, or just use like a standard comics font, like Anime Ace, BBE, or something. There's tons of free ones. Don't fucking use Comic Sans.
I always, when it comes to like my lettering, I fell in love with like Lit McCready or the other font that I like using too is Hired Goon. I like that one a lot too. Anime Ace, I only use that when someone's yelling. That one is so extreme with its elongations, and I very, you know, most of the projects that I edit on, it's kind of it doesn't really fit some of the artists that, you know, the writers hired. I'm just like, okay, I want to do something with it eventually, though.
I think I'm using Clementine for Soul of a Hero. I think that's my go-to. I'm using Clementine. Actually, using two different ones, but Clementine is the one I use mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
What size are you guys using in your letters?
It depends. Like if it's like a single panel and it's like just only the thing is that they kind of like, what can I say? It's like, for me, it's like the text can be depending on the panel. Like if it's a single panel like this is not a cartoon, this is for a card. But if it's a single panel with only one character, I'll probably put it to probably 45 to 50 font size in trash hand. But then if it's like a bunch of text like I had for the cancer one, for the other one, I would say for that, the shipbird falling on her ass on a flat rock. I love that. That's great. I think that it's like 36. I don't try to go below 36 because I want it to be easily read. But it depends on the context of the image.
So what's your page size? I mean, are you doing pixels or inches, or what is your actual page size?
Well, I do it, since this is Webtoon, they go from 800, I think, 1600 or something like that.
Okay.
So it's technically, I guess, close to 8x10, but I could be totally fucking wrong. Let me look at the image size.
Yeah, because a lot of artists that I end up lettering their stuff, they're usually doing 8:4 format. So then, you know, I typically go to like size 11 or 12. Okay.
So it's well, this, oh shit, this is the wrong one, but I think it starts at like 800 by 1600 or something like that. I could be wrong. I'll have to double check, but that's what I'm looking at right there. So yeah. So
well, you brought up webtoon and webcomic, and that webtoon or Tapas, that kind of layout. When you're designing, or I guess doing your page layout, of course, the layout for Tapas or for webtoons is going to be much different from one for a printed page. So, do you put each panel in its own file, or own COP file? I guess if there or Clip Studio one, or do you you do your whole page, or how are you separating it? I guess how are you separating out your content?
One file. Okay, so if it's one page but multiple panels, I'll do it in folders. Like they have a layer for folders, and I'll copy paste like each of the ones that I want into each folder, so I still have the original drawing. I mean, I don't keep hiding to the original drawing because I can't draw straight lines worth of shit. But then I'll like make the panel for each one.
Okay.
So I'll draw it in there and everything.
So I'm debating on how I want to do this for Soul of a Hero, because of course we're transitioning over to a webtoon style. I'm actually going to have it on my own website. I'm not going to use webtoon. I'll have a webtoons version, but what I plan on doing, one idea I was kicking around is like each panel will be its own folder, or its own file, and then I can move them around instead of drawing everything on one long continuous, page or image. That was just my thoughts on it. I think also when I do the clip traditionally, when I set up my panels, each panel is its own folder, so I guess it's the same concept. But I'm always interested in how people use clip to see if I can learn something or if they can learn something from me. So.
I think that's what Atomic Robo did, because they were a webcomic for years, and they did Kickstarter, and they just did it like a simple, I think they did like a simple 6x8 like cell, like you would do an old school like cartooning for newspaper, and then they would just upload it, and because it was a huge image, all they had to do was shrink it to the thing. So when they launched it, they just had to bring it back to its regular size and put it on the comic. I mean, I think they still have some YouTube videos out on that. I could be wrong.
Yeah. So it's just like one of those things that you deal with. So like I finished doing this one called Cancer. So this is based off the Demon Bitch card game. And what the Demon Bitch card game is that it's a dumpster fire game. So essentially you have an attention whore trying to go and conquer the internet. So every time that she doesn't get attention, she dies a little inside. So it's literally a matter of Demon Bitch's survival to go and be the biggest attention whore ever. So one of her cards is Cancer. So I misspelled cancer intentionally because it's not the real cancer. Now, we all know somebody that's had cancer. We've all known people that have perished from cancer, which is not fucking funny. Actually, it's pretty shitty. But the reason is that I have run into people amazingly online. This was not before when we've had that. It was basically like, oh, we did selfie too, so it's like all the fucking stupid like filters and shit on that stuff. But these are her little actions that she does to survive and get likes. So there were times where like I've seen people, and having been through, now again, I had a precancerous tumor in my pancreas, but a lot of the thing were following the same. But I've known people that have had like cancer and they get it. So what it is that you'll just know the whole process. So some of the fakers that they're out there, it's like, well, I have stage 2, but I'm getting a biopsy. It's like that's not how it works. Or I have colon, they took out polyps from my butthole. I'm like, that's not how it works either, you idiot. So it's just making fun of people that are just doing anything for attention to a point that, so that's what Demon Bitch is. They just do incredibly stupid things. Like there's times where I've had a very low bar on some people's intelligence anyway, and then come to see them on the internet and they're saying shit like, oh, well, maybe someone should take DMT and talk to the coronavirus. Like really dumb things. Quentin's fucking laughing. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so it's nuts how many people will fake that stuff. Like, so, recently I had a family member that, went through breast cancer, and now she has to do neuropathy for like rebuilding her arm, because like it lost mobility, which I didn't know was a thing with that kind of cancer. And because one of the things that they did for her, whatever, And so, like, it's funny you bring that up because there were some fakers that like, were like, oh yeah, I survived this and da da da, and it was very easy and all this. And I'm looking at this family member like, I don't think you're telling the truth. And then of course it came out that they were lying, and it was just it sucks seeing people trying to get the the brownie points, if you will, of sympathy and admiration from other people or lying like that. That's just so horrible.
Yeah, and the thing is that I know people go like, well, this is a heavy subject. I think what it is that I kind of like follow the school of Mike Diana. I'm more of the underground comics. Now people go like, well, underground comics are about doo-doo jokes and the rude. Yeah, some of them are. Some of them are really shitty too. I mean, I'm not going to go lie and say it's the best art form ever. But when you really look at underground comics, they're going to tackle shit that no one else wants to talk about. And the thing is I think it's helpful for in our society to know. The problem is the old explanations on taboo subjects. Like when you talk about assault or cancer or illness, there are people that fake that, which is really shitty, but you can't call them out or else you could sound like an asshole, right? But there are certain ways you can tell if a person is not a good person and lying about this shit to get attention. And like for me, what I've learned about people that fake having an illness is that they'll just kind of mix up their facts a bit. Like they'll just say, oh, I had a biopsy and I have stage 2 cervical cancer. It's like, that's not how it works. You do the biopsy and then they determine it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things. And people it's kind of some people I think got mad at me and left. But anyway, no, I'm just laughing about that. But the problem is that people like to fake shit online. And so the best thing to do is just kind of say, okay, well, this is then one of the new modes of communication. Now people are going like, well, that means we need to get rid of social media entirely. No, we got to refigure out how we can discern. Like if we talk to another person, we can kind of tell if somebody's lying or not, or bullshitting us, right? So in a way that, I guess, I mean, now that I kind of discover new things with Demon Bitch, it's sort of like, how do you go and determine somebody lying or something like that? Like we all put up a face when we talk to somebody face to face, even the most honest of us. And I'm not trying to say we fake it. There's a difference between faking who you are and just like not disclosing every single aspect of your problems to everybody initially.
Right.
That doesn't make you any less truthful. But so it's just like, I guess one of the things, the reason why people like the comics that I do is because it just makes them like, I've seen that. It goes there. Oh my God. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, people seem to like that. Aggressively reacting. Hey, what's up? Watching from the hospital. It's real bad. Oh, man. Here we are talking about illnesses and aggressively is like fucking having problems in the hospital. Are you okay, dude? I haven't seen him in a while, but there's some really good people that have been my fans.
Life has a way of dropping dark humor. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, who says that?
No, I just said that. It's just life has an interesting way of dropping dark humor. Like we're talking about this stuff and this aggressively relaxing is, and I hope you're getting better. I really do.
I hope. I'm just joking. Oh, dude, I'm gonna hit you now. You fucker. Also, I have to say, with my audience and my fans, we have horrible senses of humor. That's what we are.
I love it. Well, hey guys, I got to get ready to bounce. I got to go to a meeting, another one, because today was my meeting day with clients. So I love to come back. Give me a call whenever whenever you guys can. Okay.
All right, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back on. I couldn't help myself.
Now I'll be more talkative later. I'm like driving and stuff now, but
don't worry about it, dude. I get it. All right.
I'll talk to you guys soon. All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Aggressive. You dick. I'm all mad now. Wow, I'm laughing my ass off. But yeah, no, it's like right now I'm just doing cries. And yes, I do know what cries, like how to spell cries. But one of my friends, he was like fucking with this one person. He just wrote down asterisk cries. It just made it more funnier. So I'm just going to do Demon Bitch crying because she always fucking does that to try to get sympathy and everything.
My old friend Emery used to say, oh, do you want some French fries with your Wab burger? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe, or like the other thing that he used to say is, oh, you really want that? How does it feel to want? Just, just being a dick about stuff. I always find his sense of humor kind of funny.
I got to put like onions around her because I'm an asshole. It's kind of funny because some people have gotten mad at me about like personality types, I said, you do have to realize these people have nothing special to offer.
Right.
I mean, it's weird because people think I'm utterly nihilistic. It's like, no, I like people. I just don't like fucking certain types of people. Like, it's weird because it's like, for somebody that draws Demon Bitch, I don't actually have a horrible view on humanity. Like, people would think that I do, but I don't. Like, it's just like, I just don't like the certain people that think they're fucking special just because they exist. And people are like, that's terrible. I'm like, well, if you just exist and you're just being you only exist being a shit to people in other areas and all that, well, like, well, fuck you. I don't have any use for you. You know?
Right.
Leave other people fucking alone. It's like
Well,
that whole thing with fucking Shipbird falling off a rock. You know, I'm on top of the world, but it's like she's on a flat rock, so it's not really. I guess you're technically on top of the world, but you just fucking fell off and killed yourself or something, or bent your back. I don't know, or broke your ass. I don't know.
No, I mean, there's a reason why, you know, cartoons and comics like this exist, because it helps people to, you know, vent out stuff in life and be frustrated. You know, like one of the things about comedy that I will never forget, I think, was it Chris Rock that said it, or was it Dave Chappelle? But I don't remember. But, you know, one of the things that one of them said was comedy is a tool to understand what we need to let go in society and what things we need. If it pisses you off, you need to understand why is it pissing you off. And if it means that you need to grow up, then you know what I mean. And it was just kind of like, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? Because everyone's got different, you know, backgrounds and things. And, you know, but like you pointed out, we all have had someone that is diagnosed with cancer or survived cancer, who died from cancer. And so for people to do evil stuff like that, pretending saying, I have it, and they don't, they're lying about it. You know, that's just heartbreaking. But the fact that you're able to, with your brand of humor and storytelling, you know, to help alleviate people with the frustration of that, I think is fucking awesome.
Well, I think
100%.
also, like, the thing is that I've kind of gotten to a point where I kind of don't care anymore. What it is, like, sometimes, like, the thing is that I've gotten, like, some people have gotten mad at me, and it's like, oh, fuck off, I don't care. You know, I'm kind of at that point. But it's weird because it's like, even people get it. Like, I make fun of Egg Lady, and she's this horribly overweight piece of shit. Now people are like going, like, it's weird because, like, you'd think in this day and age people would be jumping on me about it. But even people that I know that are my friends and people that I know that are big, that are overweight, the thing is that they get it because I'm not making fun of her because she's fat. I'm making fun of her because she's a piece of shit that tries to pass herself off as something. And she just happens to be a fat woman or a big woman or whatever. But it's like, at the same time, I'm not mocking people that are not slender, or, I mean, I make fun of Demon Bitch and she's based off people that are scrawny as shit, you know, so I don't discriminate that way. But they get it.
Right.
They get what I'm going at, you know. It's like, I think that art is lost because I think people are so into proselytizing what they want to do instead of getting the joke across, like, this makes sense for this character.
Yeah. It was funny too, because Bill Burr was even talking about like how people like bitch and complain about stuff that does not matter. You know, attacking comedians or comics because they assaulted their feelings, but no one spoke up about how big corporations literally poisoned farmers' seeds and then built a monopoly against farmers, knowing that they built like toxic food and, you know, like, and controlled the seed order. Now all the farmers have to buy that particular seed so that they can get money, and no one said a thing about that. You know what I mean? But they were just complaining about what this person said or this person did. Meanwhile, you know, we got processed foods that, like, having stuff in it that we probably shouldn't be eating. You know, like, one of his key points is like, you know, in shredded cheese, there's sawdust in shredded cheese. I'm pretty sure we weren't meant to eat, you know, from wood. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I just find it odd that these movements against popular people, this crowd mentality, like, they're attacking the wrong things. 100%.
Well, I think it's kind of funny because it's like now I see why I like fucking Kraft cheese, because it doesn't fuck me up the way dairy does, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, no, I was just kidding. You know, it's kind of weird. The faker the cheese. I mean, I like cheese, but I'm kind of allergic to dairy. No,
Right.
guys, don't switch your menus up because I fucking have some allergies. I actually just largely don't try to eat them the majority of the time. That seems to work. But it's kind of funny because like I kind of discovered Velveeta mac and cheese, and I'm like,
Mhm.
holy shit, this is the best thing on the planet. Like the faker the cheese, the more I like it. Like crap. Like some people like, well, my mom can make great macaroni and cheese. No, fuck that. I want my Kraft mac and cheese. Fuck that shit. That's my comfort food.
Dude, so there's this. Okay, so I love cooking, right? Like, you know, last time you and I went to an event together and spent the weekend with, you know, with our family members. You know, we ended up being the ones, you know, cooking in the kitchen while you know, we enjoyed cooking while they were, you know, goofing off in the living room. And I just remember, like, when we were cooking, I was watching on YouTube on the phone there. Since you brought up Kraft mac and cheese, there's actually a recipe for steak, taking the cheese powder from that and
Uh-huh.
and cooking your steak in it. So I want to try that. I really do. Everyone says it's great. I don't know, but I want to try it like really bad. I want to
Yeah.
go get a New York strip. 'Cause it's like a small cut, and then powder it and see how it goes. I
Okay,
really do.
and let's go and just for the fucking sake of it, just to show how fucked up this is, we'll just set it on fire. Some of the cheese powder first, like how some people set non-dairy fire before they ingest it, just to make a point. I don't
Yes.
know. I
Yes.
just feel like doing that because it's just really funny. But
Oh,
yeah,
no, it's true. When I was going through some training in the Army, it's crazy what they tell you what is flammable. You know, I didn't know until I joined the military before, you know, because before YouTube really took off and social media,
Huh.
like they're like, oh yeah, if you guys like your snacks, you know, make sure when you go on, you know, because back in the day we used to call it licky and chewies or pogey bait, like when we'd go out on like patrol and stuff. 'Cause you always bring your little snacks because you never know if you get
Right.
back in time for chow or not. So the idea is, you know, sleeping and eating in the military was like always constant because you never knew when you got to sleep or when you got to eat. So you could always have your own snacks. And during one of the survival training things, they showed us that you take a bag of Doritos, like Doritos are very flammable and they will be good kindling. You need it.
Oh,
Fire.
tortilla chips. Yeah, they're great because they've got the grease and then they've got the corn, which is a flammable matrix. You just throw it
Yeah.
in. Like what we got bored. Like one time we were not camping, but we were at a bonfire. And I said, okay, we had tongs and we decided to set random shit on fire. Okay, guys, by the way, we did not set stupid random shit on fire, just stuff that wouldn't cause noxiousness or nasty little potash. So I just said, oh, let's try it with a tortilla. And so we lit a tortilla chip on fire. One of the guys actually picked it up and went like, like actually there was like a picture of him. The thing is tortilla chips don't burn that fast, so that was good, you know, because
Mhm.
like some things can burn, so it's actually good kindling for that.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy what they taught. Or like another thing. Another thing was like milk powder for your coffee. That's flammable.
Yeah.
You know, and they also taught us how to like cook meat on an engine block. That was pretty funny. We would take a piece
Well, I
of
mean
meat,
that
wrap
makes
it.
sense. It's kind of like salt block cooking.
Yeah. So you take a piece of meat, you wrap it in foil, and then you take some chicken wire and you stick it on the engine block when you go drive. And then by the time you come done, you know, the steak's done.
Yeah, but just
You
make
have your
sure
little
you
meal.
don't fucking put that shit right on the engine block. You put some foil or something in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you stupid kids think that's a fucking good idea, make sure you put it in like a non-flammable container that you could tape or something to.
Yeah. Or if you know, the other thing too, because when we were out on patrol, like the other weird thing that they taught us when we were over there is if you take a sock, like a clean sock straight out of the package, and you wet it with a thing of water, and then you put your water bottle in it, and then you tie it to the window, like you open the window and then you shut it, you know, and lock it. And when you drive, the wind hits the thing and it cools down your water bottle.
Oh, that's
So we
cool.
did,
Yeah, it's air
so we did
conditioning your
that too,
water bottle.
pretty much.
Did it work
But
really well, or was it like kind of?
kind of like a swamp cooler, like you know what I mean? 'Cause, you know how like a swamp cooler works, like a water cooler, like as it blows, you know, water wind into your house. There's like only like 10, 15 to 20 degrees max difference than outside, but still better than what 103 degree outside. When it making your house like 80 degrees still feels a lot better. Kind of the same thing. So it's nice when it's really hot outside, but
right.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so funny, but yeah, I mean, so I'm like doing this thing where it's like cries, and she's like in a room full of onions because I'm a dick. I mean, I just like saying I'm a dick sometimes because it's like I am kind of a dick sometimes. But I'm not the dick where like I'm just a dick for the sake of being a dick. I'm just sometimes being a dick because it's like I can't stand people like that personally.
So is this going to be part of like a the card game? Is this going to be all part of it, or is this
yeah
like an
part of
extension
it? And if people have any suggestions of what she could do to up her fucking attention level, please let me know, because I have a lot of good ones. But if you guys know, up Denise. Is Denise here? I guess it must be locally on my channel or something. My friend Denise, like, she'll watch it. So Denise, if this is the same Denise, you met Denise, right? Denise and David?
Yes.
Okay, so David's wife is a remarkably sweet woman. And I'm sure she's going to kill me if it's her. But she, like, sat in there and she was like, so I got this drink at Lazy Dog. And I treated her and David to dinner. And what I did is that I said, oh, Dave, I've ordered this non-alcoholic drink. I just didn't feel like I'm kind of in the mode of ordering non-alcoholic drinks and just having one and that's it. Because sometimes I just don't feel like drinking alcohol. I don't have a problem, but, I also don't have as much of a pancreas as I used to. And I just sometimes you're just not in the mood for alcohol. And they've actually come out with some pretty good mocktails. So I ordered this mocktail that was like the Jamaican lemonade. So it was made out of, I think, raspberry and lemonade, and it had coconut milk in it. I'm like, oh, that's going to be interesting, right? So I had this different expectation of how this drink was. Well, it comes out, and it's like half like red, half yellow, and there's a pipette with white stuff in it. And Denise and I were just looking at it because earlier, knowing me and hanging out with my friends, we were talking about fucking cow insemination for some fucking reason. And we were just staring at this.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Yeah. Anyway, so I stared at it and I was just like, and then Denise like leans in and she says, so are you going to squirt the cum in there? I started laughing. And the worst part is like when I squeezed the pipette, because I thought it was going to do it, right? Nothing came, like no white stuff we could see come out. We were laughing because we kept trying it. But when I kept trying to redo it again and again,
the
more of the red liquid got
liquid
sucked up in the pipette, and it looked more and more gross. And it was really fun. So I had to take the whole pipette out and just squeeze it in there. But even then, the white stuff didn't really show. So, that was like what my friends and I do. We're terrible people.
I love the fact that you're the person that made sure that Pops put the disclaimer on every video.
Well, I don't make Pops do that. Pops doesn't want to get fucking demonetized and shit. So it's my fault. But then people come to and go like, yeah, we want to hear her swear. I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. It's like weird because people comment as I draw. And it's kind of funny. It's just like, I wonder if Denise is laughing. Because sometimes like she or her husband will like fucking watch it and make comments. Or they'll DM me because it's easier because they have it on YouTube, like the TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's see here. I'm just also looking at other shit because it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because like there's some porn spam bots that come on my Instagram, and they go like it'll show you in the stories who looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing they love Christie. Yeah, that's true. We should play a couple of the sponsors because I've kind of lost track of time. We sort of jumped into it, but we've got a couple. One from Chris, and another one from who the fuck? Chris and. There we go. See?
That should really say
Ooh.
second favorite, but you know, we love.
Well, there you go. Yeah, Critical Blast. They're pretty good. That's RJ. And then Chris, the guy you had on your show, he does Laughing Frog.
Oh,
But-
speaking of which, Pop, since you're kind of on, if you ever want to do the comic pulp recordings and upload them onto like for a podcast thing, do that to see if we can get more people interested in the network. Food for thought. I mean, I don't know how to do it, but if you want to.
Yeah. I guess I will at some point. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want to. I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I will. I don't know how. You know, I mean, that's kind of how I am about a lot of things, and somehow it works out for me. The intro is dope. Yeah, the Critical Blast one's good. So
I gotta check it out, man. Like you guys have been telling me about it since I joined the network. I'm like, okay, now I gotta check it out and see what they do. Because everyone's saying great stuff. Like, what do they talk about on there?
I think they do they do fan work and everything. I'm kind of bad at describing it because sometimes when I like record stuff, I kind of tune out. But they're pretty good. I think they kind of like talk about comics and movies and things like that, like fucking all else of us do on the show, but in different capacities. And RJ does promotions for indie creators. Thank you, Pops. I was like mildly lame right now because I was like tired. So thank you for on that level. No, really, seriously, because I felt kind of dumb saying it. I'm like, RJ does a lot of promos and stuff because I knew he did stuff with comics, but sometimes I get blurry and all that. Sorry. Somebody was asking about TwitchCon. I'll be at TwitchCon, and then it looks like I'll be at CCon or aka Wicked City Con. It'll be I don't know what the venue is as of yet, but it'll be in LA, so I'll put that up there too.
So what is TwitchCon all about? What is TwitchCon all about? I keep hearing about it. I don't do Twitch, so I have no idea.
So it's basically a collective or a convention for streamers, you know, video gamers, art streamers, things like that. And if you are at a certain level at Twitch, you can be on the convention and you could table there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'll be at TwitchCon. That'll be coming at God damn it. The second weekend, I think it's 10/9 to 10/10, I believe, off the top of my head. If you go on my link tree, you'll be able to see it under appearances. Also, I just want to let you guys know, let me go back because you guys switch out my freaking, this is my lunch hour sponsors right here. Now we have Laughing Frog, we have Committed Comics, and we have Critical Blast. They're all great people, but also
Laughing Rogue, not Laughing Frog.
Sorry.
Laughing Rogue.
Thank you. Anyway, yeah, Pops has to correct me. We live for that. But anyway, so what it is that, and put the freaking like overlay on there, damn it. Anyway, but so there's like my QR code for my fucking website right there. But I also actually became a brand ambassador for Goth Mall, which I have personally shopped at. And what's nice is that if you're in the US, UK, or Asia, they will ship from those localized warehouses. And if you click on the QR, if you click on the QR code and or put in HoraToraStudios.com, which unfortunately did not say it really fucking big, but on HoraToraStudios.com, you get 10% off on your whole order. And I've shopped at that store, and they get shit right, and the shit isn't cheaply made, so it's good. So Laughing Rogue.
Quentin says, sounds awesome, see.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Yeah, so because I mean, I've had people ask like, what clothes were you there? Like, what clothes did you get and all that stuff? And I just said, well, I got it here, here, and here, but that's a way you can get a discount for some of the shit I get.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, on the last episode I was on, you know, for my show, I was, you know, promoting like Yale, you know, makes his own stuff. So I think what I'm going to try to do is talk with DL and then get you to like, you know, start modeling some, because he makes like sweatshirts, t-shirts and stuff like that, and see if we can get some of your modeling stuff then, because I know you've been working with them with this company. I'm just seeing if we can open up your portfolio and, I don't know, get you stuff.
Well, I mean, I do have a model card. If you're talking about me, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like fucking. Like I do have a model card that
it's your show. I'm talking about you. Why would I not talk about you?
Well, everybody has to talk about me. I'm a model. I'm a model. No, I'm joking. It's like, it's funny because like from a person that didn't like really talking about herself initially, now I have to do it all the time. And it's kind of funny. In a way, it's kind of cool, but in a way after I'm like you don't want to be like dominant force of conversation just due to social conditioning. But at the same time, you're kind of like, yeah, I guess they are talking about me. I guess I'll go with it.
Yeah. Hey, I equivocate it to like when, I first started having a cell phone. I hated cell phones because I called them my electronic leash. And now everything we do is through our cell phone, so now I get anxiety when I leave my house without it, So I
Yeah.
get
Like, what if somebody runs into my fucking car? Holy shit. Kind of thing.
it.
Yeah. So it's like, I like it when Pops put up this whole thing because like it's not that I don't pay attention, guys. I apologize if I got any of your fucking names wrong. I really do. It's just sometimes like I'm already like talking with CityCon, and then I'm talking with like a bunch of other shit and handling Cap's business. So it's like, holy fuck. So I guess it's good that Pops is a few of my brain cells right there. No insult to Pops. He actually has more than a few, but he dedicates a few to my cause. That's the best way to say it. I think that's right, Pops? You have dedicated a few brain cells to my cause, as well as everybody else's. Am I correct with this? He has some left. That's true. I mean, after all the shit that we've been through in terms of like, I don't know, like, through our youth. I actually, when I think about it, I didn't misspend my brain cells that bad. It was actually okay. Spreading them pretty thin now, though. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't sleep.
Yeah. Sleep is a must in order to keep your brain cells working. But
honestly, if you don't sleep enough, you're actually kind of like, you actually get drunk. Like, it's literally sort of like inebriation.
Oh, yeah. No, it's true.
Like, you literally act inebriated.
Yeah. But what's funny is before going on leave or like a 4-day weekend when I was in the military, they would do these things called safety briefings, or like you had to do like a safety course to understand that, don't, spend all night, staying awake and then go travel the next day, blah, blah, blah. Because the more you stay awake, the more you are intoxicated. So if you're like, I think at 24 hours, the brain is working like as if it's completely intoxicated, like you just got schmammered. If you, been awake 15 hours and try to run off 4 hours of sleep, it has similar effects, so on and so forth. But then they would tell us, okay, you got staff duty, so stay up for 24 hours straight, and then go ahead and go drive home. And that was fun, So don't break the rules when you want to go have fun, but break the rules for us when we want to do something for mission.
It's called contextualization.
Oh, I always get out of that crap. The hypocrisy.
Well, there's hypocrisy, and then there's like selective reasoning.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, what's that different? Not much.
So what made you want to do the game for Demon Bitch?
I got talked into it like a lot of other shit. See, Jeannie's one of my friends, and she's a programmer. She's like, you got to do a game. You got to do a game. I'm like, all right, fine. She has good ideas. And then some of the time I'm like, God damn it, because like I'm tired, and you only have so many brain cells and energy levels to do whatever. But now it's syncing up for the game because she had to do a lot of back end programming. So I said, okay, what art do I have to do in the meantime? He's just do like cards like this. I said, okay, fine. So it's kind of like the video game is kind of like, okay, so she's programming stuff. I'm not a programmer, but okay, I'll do this other shit. All right, great. Fine by me. Because I actually did learn programming, but I fucking actually kind of hate it too. So I'm glad that she's programming because I fucking hate programming.
So when does the full launch of the video game happen?
That we were trying to shoot for July, but it looks like that might be pushed back a bit. But I have informed the people. It's kind of the beta test anyway. So it's also because like we did July initially because we thought, okay, that's generously enough time. And then I found out that it's actually like we just had a lot of fucking schedules hit both of us really quick. And so I was waiting on the art, like the instructions for the art, because primarily, you know, I'm an artist. I've worked in games, but I have not, like, I'm not a programmer. And she was trying to get other stuff taken care of either. So, but we are getting it done.
I get you. I mean, it's the way life works sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just life happens. But when we get it done, we want to get it done right. That's the thing. And so at least I was given the thing to do the art or start doing the art in general. So that's good on my part, because I just was kind of like, oh, okay, when are we going to do this? And she was just assuring me that it'll be fine. And it's like, okay, but my neurotic ass doesn't keep on top of that. It's like, oh my God. I mean, also my neurotic ass is trying to draw fucking Sepulchre too, and I'm kind of shitty about that right now. Even though there's no sell date, but I have to sit down and do the artwork. But I've been managing a lot of shit too, so it's like on top of that.
Sepulchre looks badass, man.
Did you?
The issue that huh?
I think I emailed you the issue, right? I sent it to you.
Okay. Yeah, the issue I got. I mean, I love it.
Yeah,
I like the fact that you like, you know, kept it black and white except for like certain points, and it was just like that's awesome.
Yeah, I hate it when, you know, it's not done right, and it's like it needs to be done right. But it's like I'm not trying to be artsy fartsy about it, but it has to just look right. Like people make this mistake that shit has to be perfect. It doesn't. It just has to look right. Because if it looks too perfect, then people go like, no. You know.
So speaking of Sepulchre, like what spawned that idea? That's a really cool book.
For me, it was trauma and relationships and stuff. I know people are like, oh shit, heavy shit. No, it's just, you know, being betrayed and all that. And then this storyline popped up in my head, which thankfully did not fucking happen to me. And if guys don't know what Sepulchre is, it's about a woman whose husband tries to kill her to marry another woman. But it's like that, the trauma of like overcoming that reality that happened to you. But she has no voice because they're like, a strong woman has a voice and everything. And I'm like, okay, I'll make a strong woman that doesn't like can't talk. And some people are going, well, make her have thought bubbles. I said, I don't want to make her have fucking thought bubbles. I want you to feel her frustration that the shit that she used to be so easily to say, she can't anymore. I want you to feel that frustration. So it's not like out of a feminist thing. It's just like, okay, it's sort of like you can't enunciate your pain. It's coming from that mode. And I think people like, they think that the inability to enunciate pain comes in certain ways, but I wanted to make it in a way that it really drove it home.
Sense.
Like she wants to say it a lot of the time, but she can't because the mode that express it would be from there. And it's like, well, have her write everything down. It's like, do you imagine how tiring that would be all the time? Like the character is literate, but after a while, it's like you're over it. You just don't want to talk about it.
Right.
You know, I'm sure she could write things, but it's just the point of like, you're already like dealing with that shit. Why the fuck do you want to deal with anything else? It's kind of like you're tired. You know, but you've got this rage inside of you.
And that's what I like about the book. Is that, you know, recently, you know, been editing a lot of like strong female lead comics. You know, the thing that I always like to tell people is like, and I always say this, is you have to understand what the character is going through before you allow them to make the decision. Then if you understand what the character is going through, then the decision will either not make sense or make sense. And if you find out that it doesn't make sense because the character is a certain way, then you need to ditch that idea. Like that, and that's what I like about Sepulchre. Like everything you put into that book, it makes complete sense. Like it's a person who's feeling rage, feeling betrayed, in trying to get her sense of justice. So that her not having a voice is like very powerful, because how many people out in the world get wrong and they want a sense of justice, but then they don't have a voice within their community for whatever reason. You know, and that translates very well artistically. I mean, it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that it was just very simple, but it just came together that way. And I know like a lot of people are kind of like, I don't know, it just came through and it came through naturally. I never want to say like, oh, is this deep thing or another? It's like, that's kind of what I hate is people trying to make shit deeper than what it really is. And I don't know, I've just never liked that. You know, it's like, yeah, I think a lot. Yeah, this, that, the other thing. But it's just, I never was the type of person to kind of deep think so much or overthink. I mean, I can be a chronic overthinker. I understand that. That comes kind of with the territory. But I never liked doing that shit where I was like, I was constantly like, oh, I have to think about this next deep thing or some other fucking shit. You know, it's like, to me, I don't like that. It's like if you kind of, I mean, it's one thing to think hard and long about like what you're doing, but it's another thing entirely if you're just going to go make it into something that it isn't. And it's like, okay, that's not, that's going to strangle the story in a way. So that you kind of have to find the difference between that. But it's also like I have to kind of feel the trigger point of go to draw it, and I haven't felt that in a little bit. So it's like it's been kind of frustrating for me dealing with that. But that's just how it works sometimes. I mean, luckily I work for myself, but at the same time, you know, it is troublesome because I actually do want to finish what I start. And a lot of people have really like Sepulchre and they just really fucking want to get that going on. I'm like, totally get you guys. I'm trying to get that done. But it's like, I just don't feel like shitting out a story, but the story's already been written. But it's kind of like, I forgot if you read the story of the second one because I've only released it to a few people.
No, I got the first one. Emailed me the first one, and then the one that you did for heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
So, and I like that one because of just because of like you took an old Irish folklore and did your own spin on it. And again, it reminded me, like I shared with you, like Mike Lola, like one of his stories. And it's just the fact, when we were talking about it, that's one of the things I like about your comics is that it's you find unique ways to put spins on stuff or get inspiration in other areas that connect with other inspirations, which is like it's a lot of fun material. It's always a new thought of something, either something that was old or brand new in light of what we're currently. And I find that interesting. I really do. Like, how many people can go, let's take this old idea, bring life into it. Not only life, but let's connect it with a current idea that's going on today. How many people can do that? And that's why I always love reading comics. You know what I mean? That's why I'm going to enjoy working on you with Population Me.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's like I've always liked underground comics better because there's some of them are really shitty. Like I'm gonna admit, there's some that are really shitty, but there's some that actually get really like Mike Diana Boiled Angel and shit. Like you like that thing about Boiled Angel because it just was raw and just fucking it went there.
Right, 100%. And that's the thing too. Like when you and I connected over Boiled Angel, like even though I kept screwing up the name for some whatever reason. I forget what I was calling it there for a while, but it's because it's been a while since I read it. I mean, I have the comics somewhere in my comic stash, but you are like one of the very few people that know about that comic and knew what it was, did for the industry and how it challenged freedom press. You know what I mean? And the fact that you like have that style, that punk rock attitude of like, no, this is what freedom of press is. Let's push that boundary. I mean, that's what makes me excited about, eventually working with you and then also reading your stuff, man. It's great.
Yeah, because it's just like, I mean, it's funny because it's like I get a lot of my inspiration from Johnny Ryan. And of course, like some of my friends I've introduced to Johnny Ryan, like my friend Eddie D'Angelini, he's actually, I found out, he said, I never knew you were into punk rock. And I was like going, you didn't? Like, because I never hide the fact of what I'm into. But then again, I never talk about it all the time either. I don't like it. So it just kind of came out, but he never knew I was into punk rock. So I had him follow fucking Johnny Ryan. I said, this motherfucker gets banned from Instagram every so often, but follow his shit. So he watches like fucking Johnny Ryan and we're just laughing our asses off. Like, I just like drawing shit like that. It's the greatest thing ever because it's like, I I don't know. It's just, if I'm not laughing like a little asshole every time I like draw stuff, it's like I'm not enjoying myself, and it's not going to be very good. So I have to just, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I guess it's sort of like nothing is more punk rock than, you know, your mom telling you, you're not going to go and be able to do that unless you act all professional and everything. So I do exactly this fucking opposite because the other shit wasn't working. And I remember getting into that with, not getting into it like an argument with David Avalone. If you saw me put that interview up for that podcast for Long Beach, if you guys take a look at that, I talk about it because it's funny because you talk about Don Walker's beginning in comics. Then you talk to Scott Koblish, who was like fucking mentored by all like Will Eisner and all and the Kuberts and everything. And here's me being this little asshole going like, yeah, I tried to do everything right. I'm like, fuck it. And I just started like fucking with that. That's on my Facebook, guys. If you, and it's, I've tweeted it out too, I think last night. But if you go on YouTube, you can check that out. But David Avalone and Ryland Grant are awesome. They're cool people. They're cool dudes. But yeah, like it's just funny when they interview me and Scott Koblish. And Koblish is a cool guy, don't get me wrong. It's just funny because it's like he's coming from a thing where he was mentored and he was like perfected in his art. And then for me, it's just like, yeah, I just kind of went fuck you because I tried everything and didn't work. Oh well. But
well, in comics, for me, like the only people that are doing stuff like that Boiled Angel used to do is you and the comic Red Room.
The comic
like,
what?
The Red Room?
Oh, Red Room. Yeah, Ed Piskor. Holy shit. That fucking, that's one of the rare comics I find hard to read after a while. Because it's just a relentless bloodbath. And I can take a lot, but that and Crossed is just such a fucked up comic. They're good. They're good for what they are, but they're a little too good sometimes. But I get
I had to stop reading for myself and Cross.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the dude getting sodomized by a running chainsaw. Like, that was like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've met Ed Piskor. He's really cool. He's a really nice guy. He's very cool. I post on Cartoonist Kayfabe a lot. That's his group. And the people there love my stuff, but it's just like, man, it's just Red Room. And I didn't like the bullshit that, I mean, I know I'm probably going to get shit for it, but you know, they had that one where it kind of made a homage to Mouse, Red Room, where the people were in the stuff. And then what kind of pissed me off is that everybody was like, oh, you're minimizing the Holocaust. You're minimizing Mouse. It's like, actually, I don't think so, because both people portrayed in the two covers are victims.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not taking away from the victimhood of people that truly have had shitty things done to them. It's like, I thought it was more of a respectful homage. I know some people got pissed at me for saying that, but I'm like, no, fuck you. It's like, you know, they're not mocking victimhood. They're kind of saying, yeah, these are what happened to actual people that got fucked up. And even though Red Room is entirely fictional for the most part, as far as I'm led to believe, but it's just like, I just hate this knee-jerk censorship of shit. But then again, like, I guess like we all need to feel offended to be alive, right? On some level. So that's why everybody's so fucking butthurt about everything. And everybody's like, damn, you're now getting bonus content. Christie's going over.
Now getting a bonus content. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's just like, it kind of pisses me off. I mean, in a way, like, I get it. It's like meant to provoke that cover for Red Room. But at the same time, it's like, you guys are not reading into it right. I think you guys are idiots. Like, oh my God, this is supposed to mock, you know, like the Holocaust. No, it's not. Like, if you really look at it, it's about two people that are victimized.
Yeah. And not only that, but overall, Red Room is about pushing the boundaries of, you know, we as human beings sometimes are the greatest monster too. And so, like, showing how crazy that world was of the Nazi Germany. Like, I mean, sometimes I think sometimes we over sanitize the truth about what the horrible things that happened. And I think Red Room covered it like, no, it was disgusting. It was violent. It was and it should never happen again. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers about it, but people just kind of want to take what they want from it rather than look at the whole story. And I'm not saying differences of opinion is a bad thing. I'm just saying that sometimes I think people just do the knee-jerk thing without really analyzing things.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like how I found it weird that everyone was like, praising Mouse that should never be banned, and then the first comic book, and this is why I always tell people, like, comics are always going to be the most punk rock art form in the arts that you'll ever, because we're the ones that were the first journalists that were telling the truth about stuff. With Bernard Krigsten, with his comic The Master Race, like, no one wanted to talk about the Holocaust in the first few years of the 40s and 50s. In fact, there was a movie that was denied going into the Cannes Film Festival because it was exposing what happened. And Christine, with the book that I gave you, Master Race, that for some reason is now banned off of Amazon, which I find weird, because it just exposed what happened. He literally, and everyone talks of Master Race as comic books forever changing, because he did new techniques in that book that no one ever did before, and elevated what the sequential art form would be, and while telling the truth of how vile Nazi Germany really was.
Yeah, that's the irony of it. They're banning this fucking book because it's like, oh, it must be like when you have this, when you have this and blah blah blah. Oh my God, you're a fucking asshole. Like, this must be pro Nazi. It's like, actually, it's very anti-Nazi, guys. It's being banned, and you're like, what the fuck,
Yeah, I just don't get it. I really don't. Like, when you actually read the book, like, it's a small strip, but it's so important to comic book history. I just don't understand why, people are getting so sensitive. Like, it's almost like they're being sensitive enough where they're not really paying attention to what they're banning. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, like, Bernard, like, literally went against the grain, against publishers,
Entropy,
and everyone else, and made sure that, hey, we knew that this was going on, so we got to make sure, like, everyone knows, you know what, Nazi Germany did this. Let's make sure everyone understands and knows about it. And it's just, it's sad that, like, this generation is just trying to silence that. I don't get it. I really don't.
Well, it's like, it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant to what they standard think of what everything is. And it's like, you have to understand to really have a better understanding of things. I was redundant. You kind of have to look at all the bits that you find inconvenient. That's what I consider. We got 20 minutes left, I think. But you have to consider fucking people. You have to consider everything. Like, not everything is all good or all evil. Now, it could be mostly evil and mostly good, but it's a cost benefit thing. Now, I know people go like, oh, well, so then you're just like, I hate that knee jerk thing. It's like, when I'm saying this in about general sense and they say, oh, you think that, oh, the regime you're talking about is the best thing ever. It's like, no, I'm not, you fucking asshole. Do you get it? Like, right. It's like, why are you banning a book that's very severely anti-Nazi? It's like, what? Are you upset that they're any more evil than you think they are, or what? Or, I don't know. I just find it interesting with people. It's like they ban shit out of, like, fucking reflexive action, and I find them fucking idiotic for that. I mean, if you don't want to read it because it's not what you want to read, that's fine. You could admit it, but just be fucking honest about it. Like, as I said, like, we were talking about Red Room and Cross. It's like, they're good comics, but there's only so much of that fucking shit you can read. Like, even I had to stop with Walking Dead every so often because I'm like, okay, I'm getting really fucking depressed. Like, I need to stop reading Walking Dead. Not that I was a huge voracious reader of it, but, like, I would have to read it in bits of time or else I would start, like, getting really sad. And it's like, there's only so much of a limit that you can do. Now, I mean, maybe it'll be easier to read once you know the ending of it, because it will be ending, I think, soon, or if it hasn't already, Walking Dead. But still, it's just like, it kind of fucks with your head, and you have to understand you got to take a breather. Like, when they had that in the 70s, you know how they had that what was it? They had this one where it was this guy, it was fuck, I can't remember this fucking thing.
Was it an EC comic?
It wasn't a DC. It wasn't a comic, really.
No, EC. EC, the guys that did, like, Tales from the Crypt and all them.
No, it wasn't those guys. I think it was just, like, as I said, there's some comics that, you know, you can only read so much of because it'll just overtake your emotional sense. I mean, that makes them really good, but sometimes you have to you kind of have to step away from some stuff and reboot a little bit. So you don't, some things are too good to like totally get so wrapped up into, and it could pull you down an unhealthy road. Now, I'm not backing censorship in any form. Like, you have to like self-regulate yourself. And I don't think people are actually taught to do that anymore. They're like, well, somebody else has to do it for you because you can't trust yourself. All right. But then trust yourself when you're upset and you're all like fucking upset, like running around and shit. And like, okay, I don't think that's the best, but all right. And again, I'm not saying no one has a right to be upset. It's just, I think people just kind of need to, they're not encouraged to take the moment and kind of think about things or reflect or maybe give it space. A lot of people are like, no, we got to do it now, you know.
Yeah, that's very true. But one thing that I've learned throughout the years, like, especially recent years, you can see who's like a really good comic fan and who's like only a fan of comics because it's popular to a comic fan. When I gave you Bernard Kingsley's book, Master Race, you're like, dude, this looks a lot like, you know, the Tales from the Crypt comics that we used to read when we were kids. And I was like, yes, she sees it. And I was like, no, I showed you like he was an artist on it, you know. So like,
as a style of person, how he drew people was like, oh, I've recognized that.
Yeah, and you know, but nowadays people that claim to be, you know, fans of comics that aren't, like, it's easier to snipe them out the and be like, oh, you like Frank Miller, so what's your Frank Miller, you know, favorite Frank Miller book? And then they'll give you a rundown. Oh, it's so hard to choose, or they'll like, and then you're like, really? You know, I'll be like, well, I really like Kingdom Come, and then they're like, oh yeah, Frank Miller did great on Kingdom Come. And as you and I both know, that's a Mark Waid book. That's not a Frank Miller.
That's a Mark Waid, Alex Ross book. Like with Frank Miller, the one that actually, and I wished I could have fucking gotten it as a kid. Would a lot when my mom would shop at Price Club. I'd say, I'll be by the books, Mom. Oh, okay. And she knew where to find me. And I kept fucking reading Dark Knight Returns. That was probably one of the comic books that did influence me because of just how he did it. Sin City came later, but I would say that's one of the more memorable Frank Miller books that I've read. You know, it was just like a really good rendition. It was very dark, very gritty, but how he did it was like the thin pen lines and all that. I didn't read 300 until the movie, to be honest. I didn't read that until, and I knew about Ronin. I didn't get around to reading it. I think my comic store didn't have it. So it's kind of funny because it's like, they have people going like, oh, I bet when you were a little girl, people like ran you out of the comic store. I said, no, they just told me either buy something or get the fuck out. But that was about it. I mean, at the same time, they never gave me shit for being a girl in a comic store. Neither did they creep on me. I was just like, oh, my little girl in a comic store. They're like, that's cool. Just go buy shit, you know. But I think they would have said that to a little boy too. So it's just, for me, I mean, I don't think I walked around with as much defensiveness as some people do. I don't know if it was just me, but and like, well, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I'm going to do until you tell me not to. And it wasn't like I'm a spoiled asshole and I don't know about boundaries. It's just that, you know, it's like a lot of my early life. It wasn't like I don't want to say I was this unloved kid. I really don't want to make this, but you know, I had a lot of disapproval about what I naturally did sometimes, or if I did something that was natural, like drawing, I would have that like controlled or disapproved at, you know, and it wasn't like they could control, like when I was a little kid, I actually had a lot of freedom. But as I got older, it's like, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I just realized that, you know, now in my adult, like when people try to do that to me and it doesn't resonate, it's like, okay, you're full of shit. I don't care. Or it's like done by people that fucking can't even follow their own fucking advice. You know, it's like, or they're failing in that area. It's like, why should I fucking listen to your ass? I mean, we've seen several examples of that, you and I, about a lot of some of those people. I'm like, God damn, like, this person's like comic is failing. They're telling everybody else that comic book people are terrible. I'm like, okay, you know.
Yeah, I see the thing that I noticed, the people that usually trash the art or somebody that, you know, like for instance, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. And you get the people that trash Kevin Smith film. And, you know, like, and I look at him like, this is a guy that basically is getting paid to write stories and do movies with his friends and not giving a fuck, right? Like essentially that's the Kevin Smith demographic. Is that if you want to go do it, just go do it. Don't give a damn. And the people, the haters of him, that don't understand what he is, I always find it funny because they tear everything apart, and it's like, but then you like find out that like they're a failed, you know, screenwriter or director, or whatever. So anytime I see someone like tear down our art form, I always look at it like, okay, so what's really going on with you? And then it's like, oh, your comic didn't sell really well, or you know what I mean? You're just tearing down an art form because it's successful, which is sad. And but whatever.
I only have so much empathy as it carries. I know some people might say that's a little harsh of me, but it's like if you're hell bent on being an asshole to everybody and make everybody miserable, I don't have any pity for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, if you're gonna be miserable, then go be miserable alone.
Yeah,
I get that 100%. Oh, so going back to the Frank Miller thing, it's funny because in recent years, I know he's got like a resurgence, now because of all the big movies coming out that are stealing from his books, essentially, and like Christopher Nolan to Zack Snyder all saying, "Oh, we got this from Frank Miller comics." I thought it was funny that like going to I want to say it was like an advertising for like one of the books that I'm on with Miss Pierre and how they're gonna advertise it. And one of the people there like was wearing a Batman shirt, and she was talking, oh, I love Batman, this, that, whatever, and she was like a fake Batman fan. And one of the things that he said that just made me laugh, and I just didn't say anything because I was just, trying to save grace so that, Miss Pierre can get like funding that she needed. What was funny was she's like, oh yeah, I was, I loved, when what was it, Ronin came out because I, came out on my birthday, and I just remember, when being excited hearing on the news, and it was out, and it's gonna, affect me as a kid. I was like, so what year were you born? She's like, oh yeah, I was born in 1996. Now understand, Ronin was not in 96; it was in the 80s. So
yeah.
I was laughing my butt off, man. She said that, I was just like, oh, okay, sure.
I mean, I used to go into libraries and I used to read fucking comics from the 30s, like Jiggs and Maggie. That was a good fucking comic, and I would read those a lot. I liked a lot of shit from the 20s and 30s, which is weird because I don't really draw a lot of shit indicative of the 20s and 30s, really, funny enough, in my artwork. But I used to read that a lot. I used to watch the old school fucking Popeye and shit. I like the 30s stuff because it was actually weird and wriggly and everything. Actually, I kind of hated 90s animation, the character design to a certain degree, because they had that weird, ugly, spiky look to them, which is odd because I like Batman the animated series. I thought that was fucking good,
Right.
And looking back at All Real Monsters and stuff, I like that squiggly stuff, but I never really got into it because I never had cable at that time. And by that moment, I just never really occurred to me. Like I would watch shit like Beavis and Butthead.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, I mean, when it came to art and style of storytelling, I told Pops in production meeting when he first brought me onto the network, my uncle gave me all of his old comics that he grew up with, and so I fell in love with Jack Kirby very early on because that's all I essentially had. My uncle was at one point a Jack Kirby fan, and I understand why, but one of the art forms that I really enjoyed was the Micronauts, and I only got like 10 issues. I think that they had only ran for like 20 or 30 issues. But what was funny was, as I gotten older and into what kind of art styles that I was going to be influenced by, Jack Kirby was always a constant. And then when the Batman TV show came on, because we didn't have cable either, we only had like 13 channels.
Yeah.
And it was like at Fox, they would play it, every night at prime time, right before I forget what show came after, but there for like 30 minutes, we got Batman, and that was the first time I was open to the Art Deco style. And it seemed like in the 90s, a lot of TV shows started leaning into that 1940 to 1950 Art Deco style. Like we got like the Dick Tracy movie out that year. We got the Batman cartoon that came out that year, and then we got I forget the other Rocketeer. So when I first started getting the comics, I really wanted to do something like that, but I just never could find an artist to work with that could do that style. But I still love that style. It's probably because I grew up with it, and like it's easy to find someone that like Jack Kirby, or like I know how to do the bubble and ink like like what's his name? I can't remember the inker that everyone claims ruined Jack Kirby's art. But honestly, I wish I probably a lot of work. I can't. I think it's better. But anyway,
Yeah.
But, I love those art styles, man.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like while we're looking at blank selfie right now, I'm trying to think what's another thing that Demon Bitch could do. That's attention seeking, because we've already got the lying, we've got the crying. Oh, I should say injury. And then she's like holding a fucking sock full of parking tokens and some shit because she hit herself in the eye with them.
See, I love how you can come up with a joke like that quick, See, I can never do comedy. I mean, I can make a smart ass comment, but that's about it.
Yes, Pops.
I can make smart ass comics. I'm really good at it. Really good at it. So yeah, it's like time to
let's go
tell
play
everybody where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Well, you can find me at my link tree at HoraTora Studios. You can you can hit that QR code. You can also get that like fucking Goth Mall code if you want to go and buy some shit that I wear and use it as a discount. But it's also on my link tree too, as well. So link tree HoraTora Studios, you can throw that up there, or you could scan the red QR code up there.
Yeah, you can scan that QR code right there.
It's up on my right. There you go. Right over here. See that motherfucker right there?
Yeah, that thing right there.
Yeah. I'm also gonna go and mock anybody that does self-injury. So hold on. In order for pity.
All right, family. I'm gonna go ahead and log out. I gotta go ahead and get stuff ready for dinner tonight.
All right.
Try
Bill,
to make
good show. I will see you next week, my friend. There's plenty of people in the madness to find to be on the show if you can't find somebody, but I'd really like for you to bring in people like DL that we don't know so that we can introduce them to our audience and
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, brother.
All right. Mahalo.
All right. See you later.
And you guys know where to find Christie. She's got the link tree from hell. But
yeah,
that's the main spot right there. HoraToraStudios.com. You can pretty much find everything she's got going on.
Well, actually, it's linktree/HoraTora Studios.
Blah, 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 blah. You didn't put that where I could link it, so.
You should have a fucking,
No,
you should have
I don't.
fucking
No,
about that.
I'm not the link mod. That's not my job. That's for people like Frog. That's what they do.
There we go. Notepad for
I rely
everything.
on my chat for that, man. See, and you could have just put it right in the chat, but instead of doing that, you put it in the private chat.
Well, sometimes you have it and sometimes you don't.
No,
Be consistent too.
It don't stay in the private chat. When we go out, it's gone. See?
No, I know that, but be consistent too, because sometimes you have it. It's like, oh, I should put it in the private chat, and then it's like, oh, I got it anyway. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, if you drop it in the chat, it goes everywhere.
No, I'm talking about the private chat.
I know. It just goes to me there.
I know. Anyway, never mind.
I'm telling you to show them, not me.
All right. I mean, you've done it before, so that's why I liked it.
Yeah, I know. It's just, like I said, I'm not the link mod. That's why I give everybody wrenches in the chat so they can do that.
All right.
Yo, I run the show, yo. All right. Thanks for being here, Christy. As always, I will see you like probably 3 or 4 times over the weekend. I don't know. It's ComCon weekend, so.
Yeah, and I think I'm on Saturday, I believe. I can't remember. I know I probably set time. I don't know off the top of my head.
One of those days, I'm sure.
Right? There you go. All right. That's it.
Let's see. I don't know. Let me see what I got here.
There we go.
Let me see what I got for Christy. For Christy, I have Saturday, 2:30 Eastern, which is 11:30 your time.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I have it marked down. I just couldn't think of it off the top of my head.
Yep.
All right, guys.
I will see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out. We'll be back in about 30 minutes with Paul Gomez. His topic this evening is world building, and his guest will be Max DeVille. So tune in 30. Check that out. Peace. Let's see. What should we play, Christy? How about this one's almost over? Let's play this one.
Oh, let's see.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.